い、こんばんや。コミュ障猫隊隊長 VTuber と DJ リゲの DJ ゆきです。So, we will be reading chapters 1 through 4, and today we'll go to chapter 5 of Higurashi の泣く頃に暇つぶし編。今日は今は日暮らしの泣く頃に暇つぶし編第5章を読むにゃ。にゃー OK. So yeah. What happened last chapter? Okay, so what happened last chapter, chapter 4, was, Akasaka, the police officer from the police officer from Tokyo, investigating the kidnapping of the construction minister's grandson, meets up with Oishi, Detective Oishi, and then Oishi shows him a wallet that is found further away from Hinamizawa in a basically an abandoned village. And they find out that the oh wait, okay, there we go. That's better. Okay. Oh yeah. And they find out that the the wallet that they found, it had the grandson's name on it. So they decide to go to that area where the wait, yeah. So and then what happened is that they met, Akasaka notifies his superiors back in Tokyo, and they get ready to send people over to assist. But before then, Akasaka and Oishi decide to go to the abandoned village where the wallet was found. Takatsudo? Is it Takatsudo? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, Takatsudo, which is a little bit further away from Hinamizawa. Basically it's where they are now in Okinomiya, and then Hinamizawa, and then Takatsudo. And what happened is they end up passing by. They end up passing by the dam site on the way to that Takatsudo, where they find the villagers protesting again, and while they're stuck for a little bit, they end up they find the Akasaka somehow suddenly finds Rika-chan staring at him. But he's in disguise. I think he has a cap and like a mask, so no one would notice. But Rika-chan noticed. So Yeah, so what happened and then afterwards, after they get unblocked, they head to Takatsudo, where they find, or where they, right, so before then, what is it, Rie Sensei is called by, the grandson's captors, because the grandson pretends that he's in pain, and what happened is Hirie Sensei heads over there, wondering why wondering why he's there, and he meets, or while heading back to his clinic, I think, Hirie Sensei passes by, or other way around. Akasaka and Oishi end up finding, or passing by Irie Sensei, while Irie Sensei is heading back to the to Hinamizawa, and Oishi is suspicious, gets suspicious, or what do you call, yeah, gets suspicious of Irie Sensei being there, because he's heading from an area where it's technically abandoned, so yeah, Akasaka and Oishi end up heading to back to, or ends up heading to where they found where someone found the wallet, and they end up finding the captors and the grandson, and they get in a fight. And at the end, they win, basically. I think, right? And then, the grandson is rescued. So that's where we are. Hi, let's continue. Hi. Chapter 4. Right, the whole time it was raining. The whole time that they were during that fight. In a shed or something, where they're holding the grandson. Okay, we did look at the tips already. Just want to make sure. Very kind person. That was Yuki talking about Akasaka. Yuki being Akasaka's wife that's about to give birth. Hi. That was my first time losing consciousness. You often hear of regaining consciousness on top of a bed, but this was my first time actually experiencing it. Hello, are you okay? Realizing I was awake, a young doctor called out to me. I didn't intend to respond, but it seemed my body language had told him I was conscious. My head was wrapped in bandages. So basically, during the fight, Akasaka sustains heavy damages and ends up fainting after the fight. The scratches all over my body had also been treated. My sense of pain also returned with my consciousness, causing me to groan from the intense pain shooting all throughout me. Don't try to get up, just stay laying down, please. It seems that you took quite a few blows to the head. I want you to stay rested so we can monitor your condition for at least the next 24 hours. Where is this? This is my clinic. Pleased to meet you. My name is Eva. I remembered that this young doctor was the one in the car headed the opposite way earlier. Is there somebody here? Where's Oishi-san? Ah, I'll come over. There's no smoking inside the clinic, so I had him smoke outside. Of course he would smoke. Iri-sensei left the room to go call Oishi. The scenery outside the room was tinted with gold. The pouring rain had stopped, with the voices of the Higurashi heralding the cooling temperature. I felt that the tone of the Higurashi's voices was comforting. Eventually, I could hear the heavy footsteps coming closer, which I reckoned to be Oishi. That fog that was enveloped my head slowly faded back to reality. What had happened since then? What had happened to the boy? What happened to the reinforcements from Tokyo? The door to the room flew open, allowing Irie, Sensei, and Oishi to enter. So there's no serious damage, is there? I can't promise that. I assessed the wound to his head was dangerous the moment I saw it. Got it. I want to have a little chat alone with him for a bit. Would you mind? Yeah, go ahead. Call me if anything happens. Oishi, after basically forcing Irie-sensei outside, shut the door. How are you feeling? I did something I'm not used to, so I'm pretty banged up all over. Nahaha! Oishi brought over a folding chair that was leaning against the wall and sat beside the bed. Were the perpetrators arrested? Unfortunately, no. They probably fled the prefecture or are hidden by the villagers. Well, we won't let them get away. What about the minister's grandson? They're taking care of him at the station, but your colleagues from Tokyo are rather insistent that nothing be recorded. Shiki-chan doesn't like that too much. Nahaha. The kidnapping was a confidential matter, so his custody was also probably being kept under wraps. How the kidnapping of the minister's grandson would be treated. How it would be covered up, treated like it never happened, would be handled by the brass. If this case ended up without the nation going into a uproar about it, then our job had been done. The possibility that the minister had negotiated with the perpetrators wouldn't be ruled out. But something like that was no longer my concern. My role in this case was over. Sorry for the trouble. You must think that public safety is rather unseemly place, don't you? No. We all work for the government's dime. Oishi laughed boisterously. When we first met, I was somewhat prejudiced against Oishi, but now that feeling was gone completely. Would it be more convenient for us if this case was handled instead of being hidden away? If that happened, we would be able to have something to go at the Sonozaki family with, since they're all behind it. Well, if we start poking around, we'll get all sorts of pressure put upon us, though. What a mess. Are you gonna continue to fight against the Sonozaki family after this? Nah. There's all sorts of dark rumors swirling around them, but it's not like I have a personal grudge. It'd be wise not to step on any toes here. Ha ha ha. Oishi laughed happily, and I couldn't help but laugh along. Oh, that's right. There was a word at the station from the prefectural police. Your colleagues arrived at Nagoya and are driving up here right now. You got your battle score, so you're being recalled to Tokyo, apparently. That's how it's shaking up. Good job. Your work in Okinomiya is safely over. I was being recalled to Tokyo. I inadvertently breathed a sigh of relief when I heard those words. I'm deeply thankful for your cooperation, Oishi-san. It seems like the collaboration fee I paid you didn't go to waste. Nah, ha 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 ha. I kind of meant that as a joke, though. Oishi took out his wallet, casually pulled out several large bills, and jammed them into my breast pocket of my shirt. This isn't a refund on the collaboration fee, you hear? This is me gifting you a little spending money. The booze around here is pretty good. Use this to buy yourself a little souvenir. Oishi flashed me a grin. If your injuries turn out not to be too serious, call me before you head out back to Tokyo, will you? The old man and Sato-san said they would like to sit at a table with you again. Oh my, I can't refuse that. And no tricks this time, just some plain old fun. They always say that this world is done for if an active officer can cheat that blatantly. Nah ha 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 ha. It's not often that we can meet someone who's more than a match for us. It's too bad that you're going back to Tokyo. When I heard the words going back to Tokyo from Oishi, I was reminded once again that I was relieved from my duties. Soon, Yukie would be given birth. It might still be possible to attend the delivery that I had one time given up on. When I thought that, the pain from my injuries became trivial. I wanted to hurry back to Tokyo to see Yukie at once. Can you pretend that your injuries are a bit more serious and hang around Okinomiya for a bit? I can introduce you to a few nice places. Of course, I won't make you pay for everything. Nah ha 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 ha. I am terribly sorry, but I have to take a rain check on that. My wife is due to give birth any day now. I want to hurry back home. Oh my. I don't know that. Then you shouldn't be hanging around here. You have to hurry back home. For a while after that, Oishi asked all sorts of questions about my wife, teasing and bantering with me. Well then, how do you feel? Think you can get up? Yeah, it's not too bad, thanks to you. I can get up and walk no problem. I stood up and shuffled around for a bit, which seemed to amuse Oishi. Now, I just thought that you might not feel comfortable at a hospital in Hinamizawa. Iri-sensei said that he wanted you to stay overnight, but we still haven't caught the perpetrators. For the time being, this is our enemy territory for you after all. Are you saying this hospital isn't safe? Nah ha ha. Well, Iri-sensei is someone who's well regarded in the community. I don't think anything will happen while you're here, but I'm more worried about your mental health. I heard relax a bit now that things had progressed this far, but it's exactly as Oishi had said. When I realized that this was enemy territory, I suddenly felt uncomfortable. With the only thing left for me to do was leave, the chance that I would come to harm was logically fairly low, but that didn't mean I was completely safe. That's right. If I'm going to be lying down, then do it in a hotel bed. And doing it in a hotel bed won't be all that different. Right. I think that might be for the best. At the moment, I caught a glimpse of the clock over Oishi's shoulder. It was evening. The hours when I could call Yuki from at the hospital were almost over. I wanted to tell her as quickly as possible that I would soon be back at her side. I want to call Yuki at the hospital. Is there a public phone in the lobby? No, haha. You newlyweds are all like this. If I recall correctly, there's one in the register. I'll be waiting there, so go ahead. Oishi, laughing while saying that he was jealous, opened up the window and pulled out a cigarette even though he was in the hospital room. Appreciative of how considerate Oishi was, I set out to the lobby to find the phone. The lobby was a short distance down the hallway from the hospital room. I thought that this hospital was a bit too grand for a village like this, but of course, it was nothing compared to the general hospital Yuki was admitted to. Running inside a hospital wasn't the best of manners, but calling hours would soon end. I dashed over in a hurry. There was no one else in the lobby. It may have been evening, but there was no one in the receptionist. Well, this might be lucky for me. I wasn't planning to have a conversation to feel guilty about, but it would still be embarrassing to have someone listen to the conversation between me and Yuki. Hey, Darksider, how are you doing? Taking a quick look around, I soon found the phone. Digging around my pockets and grabbed a few coins. I was calling Tokyo from here, so I would burn through this amount fairly quickly. I picked up the receiver, inserted a coin, then dialed a number for Yuki's hospital, which I had completely memorized at this point. The number for Yuki's hospital had a lot of 8s and 9s, so dialing it in inevitably took some time. It's probably one of those rotary phones. Hey, Six Knife, thank you for following Yuki earlier. Yeah, thank you for following Yuki. I come in to say hi as I go to bed. Thank you for following Yuki earlier. Also, Onyasumi, good night. Onyasumi, have a good sleep. Nya 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 nya. Oh yeah, Yuki's usually AFKing and Pixel too. Yuki's usually doing dailies in the morning. But Yuki's been busy recently, so Yuki hasn't been able to do much other than the weekend. Though I will say that hopefully next week Yuki will play PSO2 on stream. Because Yuki has stopped because Yuki needs to be there's something to talk about later. But yeah. Hopefully next week Yuki can play PSO2 on stream. NGS. I need to make new cosplays for PSO2. NGS. New cosplays. New HoloLive cosplays. New VTuber cosplays. Maybe I should do a Higurashi cosplay. That's something to think about later. Oh yeah, looks like that he's using it's a rotary phone that he's using. However, I felt something was strange as I was dialing in the number. I don't know exactly how to put it, but it was if the receiver was too quiet. Oh no. Was the phone line cut? That unique white noise from the telephone line wasn't there. I felt like I wasn't getting any feedback from the phone. And without feeling a response, I hung up the receiver to try again. The coin popped right out of the return slot. I reinserted the coin and began dialing once again, but the receiver was still dead silent. What is this? What is this? This is disconnected? While I was wasting time like this, the amount of I had to spend talking with Yuki shrunk. I began to feel needlessly impatient. Sumimasen! I felt the presence of someone on the other side of the glass, so I called out. There was an immediate response, and the man who seemed like a pharmacist came over. Yes, how can I help you? Pardon me, this phone seems to be acting up a little strange. Could you take a look at it? The man came over and tried testing various things, with the receiver pressed to his ear. Come to think of it, this was someone who worked at the hospital, not someone from the ruin company. Just as I didn't know how much about phones, neither would he. Oh, what's this? The man held up the cord that connected the phone to the wall. It was completely severed. What the heck is that? Well, this is a dilly of a pickle. Can't do anything about this until someone from the phone company comes to and fixes it. If you're looking for a phone, do you want to use the one at the office? I don't want the people in the hospital office around while I was talking. Is there another payphone close by? Let's see. If you leave here and follow the road, you'll come out into the shopping district. I think there's a smoke shop on the corner around here. If you head that way, you should be able to find one soon enough. Oh no, that's not good. I have a bad feeling. I have a bad feeling about this. I was dressed in a hospital gown. I was wearing sandals on my foot. My head was wrapped in bandages. Just look at me, you could tell I was a hospital patient. No matter how you looked at it, I was not dressed to be wandering outside. But that's where the impetuousness of youth came in. Oh no, don't go! Don't go! Akasaka, don't go! Choosing the chance to talk to Yuki for even a little longer, I headed outside in my current state. Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. I have a bad feeling about this. Follow the road to the shopping district. Should be able to find one soon enough. With only these 2 lines as my guide, I ran outside the gates of the hospital. With the village nestled in a valley, when the sun set, it got dark quickly. You see, in past Higurashis, whenever someone uses a phone booth, someone calls their neck to death, something like that. So I'm kind of worried about this. The sparse street lights lit up enough to start attracting moths. The Higurashi, knowing the time for the curse was soon at the close, redoubled their fragile cries. Finding the payphone wasn't as easy as the person in the hospital had suggested. Was it still harder? Up ahead? Did I miss it already? Was I getting further away? Just as I was about to be crushed by the wave of uncertainty towering over me, I found a shop on the corner with cigarettes written on a small sign. My joy spurred me onward. Just as I heard at the hospital, I set to the counter of the cigarette shop. Set next to the counter of the cigarette shop was an antiquated payphone. I wasn't wearing a watch, so I didn't know what time it was. I probably didn't have much time though, but it was enough. Just as long as I could tell Yuki my job was done, and I would be coming home soon. Picking up the receiver, I slid the coin down the slot. But I felt something was strange, just like at the hospital. Even after inserting the coin, the phone showed no response. Oh no. I hung up the receiver, tried to putting in the coin one more time, but there was absolutely no response. This phone was dead. It couldn't be. Thinking about that, I felt along the cord that protruded from the back of the phone. Doing that, my hands found the end of a completely severed line. What is this? Not having now had the same thing happen twice, my bafflement was accompanied by a sense of unease. It seems like the cord had been severed cleanly by a sharp blade of some sort. And I may be mistaken, but it didn't look like much time had passed since it was cut. Oh, excuse me! Hello! Opening up the booth window of the tobacco shop, I look for someone in a dimly lit interior. Eventually, there's the sounds of somebody plodding down some stairs, and an old lady appeared. The old lady's plodding and lethargic steps, for some reason, only served to make me more frantic. You need some cigarettes? I need to get my husband. I'm not here to buy cigarettes, rather, this phone here. Realizing that saying the phone was broken and asking them to look at it was going to get me nowhere, I swallowed out my words. Sir, it seemed like this phone was broken, and I was wondering if you could tell me where there's another payphone. The old lady moved her jaw up and down, slowly as if chewing on the meaning of my words. It seemed that she wouldn't understand until she digested things thoroughly. So this phone is broken? That's a dilly of a pickle. What is a dilly of a pickle? That's the second time I mentioned dilly of a pickle. Tomate. Dilly of a pickle. Nya, nya, nya. Nya, 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 nya. Nya, nya. Nya, 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 nya. Uh-oh. This might be a little low. Chatto. Wah, wah. Wah, 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 wah. Eh? Hi, 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 hi. Nya. Okay. Hi, hi, hi. Eh? Hold on. Hold on a second. Eh? Chotto. Eh? Ah! Nya, nya, nya. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Hold on. Why does this sound a bit weird? Wow. Okay. Alright, let's continue. So the phone is broken. That's a dilly of a pickle. You should try another payphone. The old lady directed me to another payphone that seemed quite a ways away. Her way of telling me was so long-winded that I inadvertently started to get impatient. At the moment, I spotted a clock in the dim interior of the store. The minute hand was about to point straight up. Even if there was a phone right here that I could use, I would only be able to tell Yuki a good night with the time I'd left. On top of that, my destination was a remote payphone which I didn't know the exact distance to. If I was of normal state of mind, deciding to give up the phone today would have been the natural thought process. Oh, please do not. Please do not. Oh my gosh. Please do, please do not detonate that phone. But at the moment, I had become somewhat stubborn for some reason. Unable to use the phone in the hospital and coming out here and still being unable to use one. There was no mistaking I had become quite insistent on using a phone. Oh, thank you very much. I'll try looking for that phone booth. Refusing her offer to draw me a map, I left the tobacco shop. According to the old lady, even though the phone booth was quite far away, it would be easy to find. If I followed this road straight down, I'd eventually find it. Sandals flapping as I ran, I couldn't help but laugh at myself. I admit that I was quite steadfast about calling Yuki. But there were days when I was tired or busy when I couldn't call her. Even today, my entire body was covered with injuries that I was dead tired. On top of that, there wasn't much time left. It wouldn't be strange at all that if today was one of those days I didn't call her. But having twice been foiled trying to call her, I'd become hard-headed about it. Was I like a dog who was being told to stay with a piece of food dangled on my face? What am I doing? Hold on. Even so, I somehow couldn't quell the uneasy feeling sitting at the pit of my stomach. It was like that with the hospital phone, and the same with the one with the tobacco shop. Both cords were definitely not severed from being frayed by long years of use. The clean cuts indicated that someone had taken something sharp and deliberately cut them. But who? And for what reason? The more I thought about it, the uneasier I felt, so I tried to push the thought aside. How much had I run so far? The secondary The scenery around me was no longer that of a shopping district, with few residential buildings scattered about the lonely road. Their surroundings had already gone dark. I was blatantly too far for a quick call, and it was quite obvious I was far removed from the hospital. I recalled the clock I saw at the tobacco shop. It might as well almost be time. I had run for quite a bit, so my breathing had grown quite ragged. If I had just waited to hear Yuki's voice, I should have thrown away my reservations and borrowed the phone in the office. I regretted it a little. Well then, was it about time to give up? Just when I thought that, I saw the light in front of me. I'd finally found it. It was a phone booth. It seemed like the light in the phone booth had recently been changed, so it shone with a vivid white light. Although the gloom of Hinamizawa was nothing more than a gathering spot for moths. In any case, I'd found it. I finally found it. As my hand touched the door of the phone booth, I realized I was breathing and sweating heavily. I didn't know what time it was right now, but even if it was just for a moment, I might be able to get in touch with Yuki. Since I had spent all this time getting there, turning back without even giving it a try was out of the question. Before I pick up the receiver, another wave of uneasiness washed over me. I was worried that the phone cord might have been severed as well. How was the cord in this phone booth? Squatting down, I followed a bunch of cables as they ran along the corner into the ceiling. At a glance, nothing was out of the ordinary. I ran my fingers as far as I could along the line to check it out. The only thing I could find was a thick layer of dust, nothing out of the ordinary. I wonder if it was popular in Hinamizawa to cut cords of payphones as sort of tasteless prank. It might have been prudent to talk to Oishi-san about this later. Even if it was nothing more than a prank, it is still vandalism of property. In any case, this one was fine this time. Pulling out a coin from my pocket with one hand, I picked up the receiver with the other. But this time, before the receiver even reached my ear, I felt something was off. Oh no, what? The receiver was light. It was more than slightly unpleasant feeling. It felt almost sickening. To verify the source of my displeasure, I peered into the I peered at the receiver in my hand with a measured reluctance. What the hell is this? The coiled cord that connected the receiver to the rest of the phone had been ripped apart. The tip of the cable swaying in the air. It was all I could do to restrain myself as a raw and unpleasant feeling worked up its way up the small of my back. It was that type of dread. At the moment, I had heard a crunch of somebody stepping on gravel. Oh no! Oh no! What's happening? The light was reflecting off the glass walls of the booth, leaving me unable to see outside into the darkness. I steeled myself and stepped out of the phone booth. Inside the phone booth was lit with a strong light, which might have made it warmer in there. Just stepping outside, I could feel a chill wash over me. And there was the silhouette of a person. A small silhouette. Rika-chan? You're... The long hair of that silhouette was blown about by the cool breeze. Injured people shouldn't be sneaking out of the hospital. Somewhere in my head, I knew who the girl was. I didn't have any basis for it, but I knew that she was that girl. Right, Akasaka? She, Furirika, said that almost like it was a warning. Did you do this to the phone cord? Her expression remained unchanged, and my question was left unanswered. In other words, no response. Regardless, I felt that she had affirmed my suspicions. Why would you do something like this? Why? The last word had a tinge of anger behind it. I frantically tried to smooth things out, but she didn't seem very afraid. There's nothing that can be done. Huh? I interpreted her words as meaning that I wasn't going to be in time for calling hours at the hospital. But thinking about it, that would have been a strange thing to say. Why would she know something like that? I could take what she had said to have any other meaning. She just stood there like a mannequin, not even moving an inch. Almost to the point that if the wind wasn't occasionally rustling through her long hair, there would be an illusion that time had stopped. I know very well that you think I'm disgusting, Akasaka. Huh? No, that's not true. Midinal came out almost like a bad piece composed for a poetry slam, but her words were right on the mark. I always felt something ominous and uncanny about her, ever since her threats at the shrine. Hehehe. She had noticed my expression was contrary to my words, seemingly laughing at the gap between them. Akasaka, you coward. Teehee. I'm not a coward. Being laughed at by the small child didn't sit well with me, so I said that. Even if you find another payphone, it's too late. That's right. She didn't even have to say it. I was absolutely too late. I might have already missed calling hours, even by the time I reached this phone booth. I was too late. I had no option but to give up today. Once I decided that, my obsession with phones suddenly faded. Even I thought that it was strange that I was obsessed. The strange obsession was gone. I began to laugh at how hopeless I was. I mean, just look at what I was wearing. It wasn't normal. A hospital gown and sandals. My head was wrapped in bandages, and my body was completely soaked in sweat. It was a wonder that the old lady at the tobacco shop wasn't surprised to see me. With wanting to hear Yuki's voice as my motive, I had trapeze around the town the entire evening. I didn't know whether to call it the follies of youth or simply plain embarrassing. In any case, it was all I could do but laugh at myself. Now, there's nothing for Akasaka to do tonight. You're right, there's nothing. I'll just quietly return to the hospital. That's fine. Do you know the way? I hope I do. She waved her little hand as I began to head back the way I came. She began to follow me alongside me. Looking at her face, I could see that she wore a mischievous smile, as if she was extremely interested in whether I would get lost. Is the Christian's house also this way? It is. Won't your parents be mad if you're walking around alone at this hour? Not really. My parents are too busy today, so they probably forgot about me. Even then, it's best if you return on home. They'll definitely be angry. Even if they are, it's much more interesting to talk to Akasaka, so I'm fine. She talked with a face free from worry as she looked up at me once more and smiled. When she showed me that smile, the eerie feeling surrounded her faded. But even then, she was still mysterious to me as ever. We arrived at the corner where I turned at earlier, but it was much darker than before. And with the point of view change on the return trip, I wasn't very confident that this was actually the corner I turned at. There's no mistake. It had to be this corner. As I began to move my feet, the girl grabbed onto my clothes. Isn't Akasaka going back to the hospital? Of course, at least I tend to. Am I going the wrong way? A short murmur in silence. Eventually, still holding onto my coat, she began to walk. It was the beginning of the walk to the hospital this mysterious girl would take me on. The person who was running around cutting all the cords was you, wasn't it, Rika-chan? You shouldn't do that anymore. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Really? She tried to play it dumb, but it was written all over her face. Nipa! It was obvious she was trying to laugh it off, but that adorable smile of hers made me want to forgive her. I'm gonna be a horrible father, aren't I? That momentary lapse in tension was erased by her next words. It's good that they found the grandson safe and sound. Unable to respond right away, I sunk into silence. I'd already learned this from Sato-san's info, didn't I? This girl, no, this entire village, knew everything since the moment I set foot in it. I considered playing dumb, but at the end, I chose not to. With everything being known already, there's no point in me feigning ignorance. Somehow. That's great. Now you can go back to Tokyo. Thank you. Are your injuries bad, Akasaka? Don't know. I haven't heard anything from the doctor yet, so I don't know if they are or not. Huh? Come to think about it, I vaguely remember being told to lie down and take it easy for at least 24 hours. Does that mean bed rest? The runet shouldn't be sneaking out of the hospital. People shouldn't be cutting phone cords. Me. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I don't know what you're talking about either. As we played dumb with each other, we both laughed at the same time. If someone saw us laughing at each other like this, it'd probably bring a smile to their lips. The chances of Akasaka leaving this village alive weren't very high. I don't want Akasaka to die, so I'm glad you're leaving the village alive. Rika-chan, did you know what I was right from the beginning? She said nothing, but gave a firm nod. Well then, I think you know this, but we're probably somewhat of an enemy to the people in this village, I would think. But you still gave me lots of warnings. That's right. She said it at the time. She wouldn't warn someone that she was okay with dying. She definitely said something like that. Then I should probably be thanking you. You probably should. I'm your savior. Saying that, she puffed her chest proudly. She said that jokingly, but the meaning behind those words was quite heavy. That was because whether I lived or died was a decision that might have been made in a place unbeknownst to me. She said those words with such an adorable smile that I took a few moments of silence for their weight to settle in. I've been to this place before. The Defense Alliance office was there. It was just stone steps leading up to the foot of the shrine. When I passed by before, I was so focused on finding a phone booth that I hadn't realized where I was. If I recall correctly, this shrine is Kika-chan's house, right? Yeah, something like that. Looking up at the shrine grounds, it was brightly lit, and energetic voices could be heard. What was going on? There's a festival today. A festival? The best and only festival in Namizawa, the Watanagashi Festival. Oh no! Oh no! That's today? Oh, that's today. Uh-oh, that's not good. Watanagashi? Cotton drifting? Just knowing the name was boring. Do you want to take a look? She asked bluntly. But seeing that I looked interested, she climbed up a couple of stairs and motivated me to come. I was only going to go back and sleep anyways. If I had nothing else to do, it might not be a bad idea to go with her on a little detour. In the hostile territory that was this village, I didn't know what would happen if I ventured down a side road without Oishi. Even though I thought the village looked like that, when I was with this girl, I forgot all about it. In any case, even without anything to back it up, I felt that as long as I was with her, none of the ill will from the village would befall me. That's why, even though I knew my cover was blown, I strangely had no qualms about setting foot into the heart of the Onigafuchi Defense Alliance territory. Climbing up to the grounds of the shrine, I could see that there are 3 pavilions set up with meeting tables and folding chairs. The folks from the village, the executives from the Defense Alliance, were already drunkenly sharing another round of drinks. I could only see it as people from the village council drinking while enjoying the evening air. At the very least, it was quite different than any festival I've ever seen. See? It's quite a boring festival, isn't it? Oh, it's different from what it was before. Or not before, but I mean, it's different than past Higurashis. I guess that's because it's during the damn protest, maybe? It certainly doesn't look like a festival. It's a festival that's happened since long ago. But as you can see, it's not like it used to be. As if the child of the old folk, she said that while looking at them with an exasperated expression. Words. Yeah, you really couldn't call this a festival anymore. It was really just a bunch of neighbors getting together to drink under the guise of a festival. I feel sorry for the deity being celebrated here. Give this sorry excuse for a festival 5 or 6 more years, and everyone in the village will start coming. The ceremony will also be done properly, and it will be a respectable festival again. What she said was not so much wishful thinking as it was telling the future that had already been determined. She wasn't even predicting it. It was almost if like she was reporting the results. That's how it sounded. Even though it was baseless speculation, the way she said it wouldn't let me interject. It was the same way she talked when she changed. While I struggled to find the words to reply to her, she wandered over to the other side of the grounds, not minding me at all. Not in a state where I could afford to be left behind, I hurriedly followed her after her. Passing through crops of pine trees, a strong and cool breeze ruffled my hair. There, from that one evening, was a splendid observation platform the girl had shown me. As if I'd grown completely dark. As it had grown completely dark, the modest lights littered across the night scene were providing a different type of scenery. Looking at it like this village seems tranquil. She said it with a different look on her face. Just the other day, you said that this village definitely wouldn't be submerged by the dam, didn't you? She didn't reply. She seemingly relishing the feeling of the wind blowing through her hair. Didn't that mean at that point of time the ministers had already complied with the demands? She spun around with her great gaze meeting mine. She said nothing. She spoke of nothing that would neither confirm nor deny what I had just said. This case will probably remain enshrouded in darkness. Headquarters probably doesn't want trouble from a scandal with the minister breaking out. There's no mistake that they tried to kill the grandchild. The negotiations with the minister were successful, and the grandson was released. The one who saved the grandson was you. I wonder about that. Discovery of the wallet that started the chain of events. That alone was too inconvenient, I think. Ever since the moment that wallet was discovered, I felt something odd. Oishi said it as well. That the Sonozaki family had given the order to release the hostage. Meaning that our little manhunt was a farce to begin with. Oh, come to think about it, I was punched, kicked, and had a gun pointed at me. I felt like they had put quite a fight, but that might have been all part of a good performance. Once the negotiations were successful, they couldn't just say, "Here you go," and return the minister's grandson right to his doorstep. They knew that public safety had realized that this was a kidnapping case and were moving in on it. That's why, due to the actions of the public safety, the grandson was able to be rescued safely. So the minister didn't give in to any unreasonable demands. That type of performance was necessary. I don't know about these difficult things. Likewise, even for me, I can't make much sense of it. But there's one thing to be certain of. It's just as you said. This village won't be submerged. The dam project will soon be over. That wasn't something an officer of the law should be saying, but I naturally let those words slip from my mouth. This village may have stirred up all sorts of trouble, but that was because they were protecting their homes. If someone just decided by themselves that I had to leave the house I was used to living in, I would resent them as well. On top of that, it wasn't a place of mine where I just happened to be renting it, but a place that their families had lived for generations. It might have been ignorant to call their desperate resistance an overreaction. I might not really be qualified to criticize politics or bureaucracy, but deliberately building a dam on land that was loved by the residents wasn't something I could get behind. Still, aren't you glad? Why would that be? At the very least, with this, peace will return to this village. Even though the minister promised to use his considerable influence to cancel the project, it would probably take more than a few months before it would be completely scrapped. At the very least, it would probably take 1 or 2 years. For the villagers to officially hear that their village wasn't going to be submerged at the bottom of a dam was still a ways away. But there was no mistake that the promise of peace returning to the village was there. It turned out from the beginning to the end that it had already been decided. Just as the girl had said, it was decided. There wasn't really a need for me to come here in the first place. There's absolutely no need for me to have come here and aggravate an unpleasant situation. If I have never come here, then the grandson's release might have been done in a more amicable manner. Peace? In this village? When I nodded, she laughed as if to admonish me, but her face remained indifferent, expressionless. And then her eyes narrowed slightly as she snickered. Even though every year from now on, something bloody will occur? Tee. Ika-chan, what are you talking about? As the wind blew her hair about the girl, as if taking the pleasure in in that I was the only one who didn't know, continued to snicker as she looked at my face for a while. You see, in a few years, I'll be killed. Huh? By the backlit by the moonlight, it was hard to tell if her expression had been cast in the shadow. If her expression that had been cast in the shadow was smiling, amused, or resigned. You are? What? You are? Why? It's an very unpleasant thing though. It's also probably been decided already. Decided already? You would decide that sort of thing? I'd like to know that as well. Turning back to face me, she showed me a resolute expression for the first time. As after seeing into my eyes for a moment, she turned back to gaze at the scenery before she spoke her next words. There is a lot of people who have no regard for human life. Even if I tell you this, it might not change anything though. But if you want to erase the specter of deaths, sometimes, like with the reflection of the moon on the water, all you have to do is throw a small stone. I have no idea what she was trying to say. Ah. Is this her move to try to cast that? Was this her move to cast the small stone? Getting Akasaka to show up in Hinamizawa? It's just I had to listen to every word with my body and soul, or at least that's what I thought. This day next year? Yes, June 1979. On this day, the foreman of the dam construction will be killed. What? For a moment, I couldn't comprehend what she was talking about. By the foreman, Did she mean that gruff old man I was playing mahjong with? Be killed. What makes you think? She didn't answer, but she had the same expression on her face as she did when she declared that the damn construct project would go away. That wasn't the face of someone making a forecast or prediction. It was something else already decided. No, it was as if she had already reported the results. That sort of expression. After being killed in a gruesome manner, the body will be torn apart and disposed of. Murdered and dismembered. The next year, in June of 1980, on this day, Satoko's parents will be pushed to their deaths. Satoko? It was the first time I heard that name, but I didn't have the courage to interrupt the girl's story. It might be an accident, an unfortunate accident. The girl smiled faintly, but she wasn't exactly encouraging me to smile along with those lifeless looks in her eyes. And then the year after that, this day on June of 1981, my parents will be killed. And then the year after that, this day in June of 1982, Satoko's abusive aunt will have her head split open and die. And the year after that, this day in the June of 1983, or possibly a few days afterwards, I will be killed. If all the deaths are preordained, then the last one would also be all according to plan. But then, whose plan would it be? The village was full of murderers, and people who have no regard for human life. It would be fine to believe that all of the deaths up to 1982 would be the work of somebody in the village. It would be fine to believe that all of the deaths would occur were a discretion of those who control the village. But they didn't explain what would happen in 1983. There was no way that the last death would fit in with anybody's plans. They had no regard for human life. They would use every means at their disposal to meet their goals. But their goals were at odds with the last death. That's why the last death was unrelated to them. But the last death would definitely, most likely, probably, without question, happen. Probably, definitely, I dare say. The last death would be a merciful one. A handkerchief or something being placed over their mouth, making them lose consciousness, never to wake up again. Exactly whose plan was that? I want to live happily. That's my only wish. Surrounded by my precious friends, spending our days enjoyably. Only that. I don't wish for anything more than that. Mika-chan. I don't want to die. This girl, stoic as ever, let those last words slip the end. Mika-chan. Eventually, we were discovered by some drunks. The girl, as well as I, were dragged back to the festivities. Everyone was completely drunk, so even when they saw my head completely wrapped in bandages, they wouldn't let me leave. Well, certainly, if I was in good enough condition to slip out of the hospital, it must not be that serious. The girl was mingling with everyone, being pampered like a kitten. Yeah! Her expression was adorable, nothing like the one from just before. Predicting her own death, whispering that she didn't want to die. Having said that, having a silly and lively conversation like this, it was hard to believe that these people were the core of the extremist resistance group. Even if it was a shell of its former self, it was a festival where people in the village gathered. So the 20-some odd folk here should have included some of the village executives and other board members. Among those, there was no doubt that there were members that were at the Sonozaki Family Council in attendance, meaning even if we never meet face to face before, there are people who knew my identity. In a small village like this, they knew all the faces at the villagers that live here. That's why, without saying anything, it soon became obvious that I was an outsider. But they actually seemed interested by that, asking me all sorts of things about Tokyo, drinking while musing at the faint relationship the city had with the villagers, and empathizing with the rather meager environment. The confidential talks with the minister were finished. His grandson was in police custody. Everything was over. I might not have to be put in another pair of situation. To me, they were my only adversaries because of my job. Outside of that, there was no reason I couldn't be friendly with them. The next time I visited this village, would it return being a tranquil and beautiful place? If that happened, I might be able to take a relaxed walk around the village with her again. My cup was once again filled to the brim with beer. By the time I was able to get away, it was the middle of the night. The girl had at some point disappeared. It seemed that her parents had told her to go home and sleep when she let out a large yawn. The old folks, who had absolute remorse for making an injured person hang out with them, told me as much as they laughed. I was just drinking, so I had thought to help a bit with cleaning up. However, my help was refused on the grounds that I was a guest. On top of that, they had a car prepared to take me back to the hospital. Losing the battle against my sleepiness inside the car, I was sound asleep until we reached the parking lot of the hospital. The front door of the hospital was naturally locked at this hour. I wandered around bewilderedly, searching for a back entrance until someone on night duty found me and let me inside. Where were you this late at night? Sensei was worried about you, you know. Sorry about the trouble. I was held up by the people having a festival at the shrine. Oh, they did say something about everyone in the town council getting together for a drink. My condolences. Are your wounds alright? They're throbbing a bit. It's probably because of the alcohol, I think. Oh, that's right. The detective that was with you wanted to get in touch. Whoops, I kept Oishi-san waiting. I glanced at the clock. No matter how you looked at it, it was way too late to call him now. I'll apologize to him tomorrow over the phone. I returned back to my hospital room and I slipped into the bed that was still unmade from the time I went outside. Oh, that's no good. I have to turn off the lights. But my weariness had cut the cord powering my body, lulling me to a deep sleep. Prophecy at the beginning. Heard someone's prediction. Hi! Wow, that wasn't that long. Yay! Okay. So let's look at the tips. No. I changed my mind. Let's see first. And then let's look at the tips. Mother's diary. There's 3 mother's diaries. Wait, why is 3 mother's diaries? There was something I didn't like about my child. I first realized it when I started writing these things down. They never warn you about it in any books about raising children, but they aren't just a plaything. If they aren't able to feel love even when they're not doing exactly as their parents want them to, then those parents are failures. This wasn't something I like that though. How can I say it? It's probably harder to express with mere words. I just want my child to be average. As long as they weren't falling behind, there wasn't any need for them to excel at something. As long as they acted appropriately for their age, I would have been fine with it. But my child had been different ever since kindergarten. All the children in her class were running around in excitement about the field trip the next day. She only wore a bored look on her face, aloof and distant. When the other kids broke the equipment for the athletics festival and were apologizing fervently, she only wore a bored look on her face, aloof and distant. When the teacher was reading a fun picture book, only she wasn't smiling. Even when they all got to eat a delicious bento, only she wasn't happy. If it was only this, it would still be in a realm of understanding. However, what I don't understand about my child is that if the aforementioned situations happen again, they now act in a manner befitting their age. I don't understand the principle behind that as a parent. Why were they indifferent about the field trip, but happy about this one? Why were they indifferent about that picture book, but happy about this one? Why were they indifferent about that bento, but happy about this one? The former and the latter in each situation seem exactly the same to me. There was even times when I thought the former was better. I don't understand this child's feelings. During parent-teacher meetings, the teacher always says the same thing. And I always respond that I don't understand my own child, and we would mope together. My husband, always the optimist, once said that a young child's feelings are different from an adult's. So if there were some things we didn't understand, we shouldn't worry about it. I lament his lack of urgency. One day, when I was in a good mood, I took the effort to prepare a meal that my child would enjoy. But she only smiled with a vague expression of disinterest. The attitude frankly made me angry, so I hit her in the head. On a day when the weather was nice, the laundry I had just hung out to dry was blown away from the large glycerin, causing the entire line to fall down. But she, watching me trying to pick up the laundry in a panic, stood there laughing. That attitude frankly made me angry, so I hit her in the head. I think the same sort of thing happened countless times. Before I knew it, my child was only able to look at me with indifferent expression on her face. I regret the fact that I've been a bad mother. Thinking I should regain her trust, I thought to get it back little by little with some light interactions. Seeing her do some sort of craft work on the veranda, I called out to her. These past days have been nice and sunny. The air feels nice, doesn't it? That child with an indifferent look on her face I hated so much looked up at me for a moment, then without a word returned to immersing herself in her craft work. Up until now, I would have hit her on the head just for that. I held myself back. What are you making? Is it a doll? A leather charm. The child was using inserts from the newspapers to deftly make some weather charms. Teru 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 bozo. The forecast hadn't called for rain, but the child in her own way, was praying that these sunny days would continue. Being able to understand my own child for the first time in a while, I couldn't hide my own happiness. Bringing out a ball of yarn, I began to hang my child's cute weather chimes from the eaves of the house. Ah, it's no good, Rika. The heads are too heavy, you see. They became reverse weather chimes now. If you're like this, they'll call for rain instead of the sun. When I started to take them down, my child tugged at the hem of my shirt as if to stop me. That's because I made them to be upside down. They're fine. Marika, our charms are down. There won't be a charm that calls for a happy day, you know. I was making a charm for it to rain, so it'll be fine. I desperately suppressed the emotion swelling up inside of me, while trying desperately to understand my child. Oh, I see. The morning day growers in the garden were starting to get a little wet from the sun, so you wanted some rain, right? The child turned to me with the expression that I hated the most. I got bored of the clear weather. I don't understand. I just can't understand my child. So this one is Pika-chan's mom. Okie dokie, let's go to the next one. Okay, let's go to the next one. Wait, hold on a second. Okay, right, let's go to the next one. Another diary, number 2. During the family council, she buried herself under Oreo-san's futon again. Oreo-san dotes on her unwaveringly. No matter how insolent my child commits, no matter whatever insolence my child commits, she doesn't mind. It's almost as though my child is a kitten or something. Oreo dotes on her exactly like you would with a kitten. As her mother, I chided on her before doing that. Until Oreo-san had said 3 things that it was fine. I chided her as a formality. Of course, she never lends an ear to any of my chidings. Knowing that Oreo-san's standing was far above mine, she behaves like that. I don't like the cutting that's unbefitting of her age either. In any case, not only Oreo-san, but the rest of the old folk in the village spoil her too much. One day, I was surprised. By chance, on the way back from some shopping, I saw her by herself just outside a candy shop. My own child suddenly grabbed a snack, opened the package right there, and started eating it. She didn't make any attempt to pay for it, and she didn't even think of looking around. It didn't feel like she was shoplifting, more like she was brazenly eating snacks that was offered to her. When I began to admonish my child, the elderly shop owner appeared and covered for her. The owner gave me the ridiculous excuse that he had given, said it was okay for the child to eat any of the snacks out of the entrance, so it was fine. When I tried to pay for the snacks that my child had eaten, the owner refused my money. During the exchange, more old folks had suddenly gathered around, and it began to feel like I was on the wrong. The elderly people all put their hands together reversely in the front of my child and repeatedly voiced their respect. I was born into the Furiri family, so it wasn't like I didn't know why she was being treated specially. When I was still young, it was something I heard often from my grandmother. But if any chance the child that I gave birth to was a girl, that child would be the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. All the older folks believe she is the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama and spell her rotten. And not only do they spoil her, but they even told her that she was the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama, that she had some kind of divine power, and threw all sorts of strange folktales her way. She may have begun to believe herself that she was a special existence. I went around and told everyone that wasn't good for her upbringing, so to stop telling her all these strange things. But there was no uprooting the elderly people's deep-seated superstitions. I told my child not to listen to them, but it ended up being that she stopped listening to me. Between all the old folks in the village who would dote on her, and myself who only scolded her, there was no wonder she would listen. There was no wonder who she would listen to. There was no mistaking that the reason she had become strange was because of the elderly villagers. There was no doubt that they had shoved her with full of strange folktales and superstitions since she was young. If it wasn't for that, there was no doubt my child would have been cute and normal. Someone is jealous of their own child. Furude-san, Furude-mama is very jealous of Rika. Nippa. Okay. Hi. So let's go to the third book. One sunny parent-teacher day, there was a cooking class, and my child was making curry rice with a practice hand. While the other children her age were awkwardly using her kitchen knives, the child was wielding hers deftly. The teacher approached me with a smile on her face, saying it must be a result of learning it at home. I managed to play it off with a vague smile and nodded in response. Probably it was not. It was because I had never once told my child how to make curry rice. Even then, she was peeling vegetables with a practice hand, adding them into a pot in the order of which took longer to cook. For a normal parent, they might unintentionally clap their hands together, happy at their child's actions. But in my case, it was different. And there is no mistaking that someone had taught her how to make curry rice. But when I wasn't taking care of her, thinking that, I quietly fell into a displeased mood. When I asked, it seemed she could also sew and do the laundry. I had never taught her how to do those, and again, I never saw her do it around the house. be it cooking, or sewing, or laundry. Again, that was probably because the elderly villagers thought all sorts of rubbish when I wasn't looking. Not only that, they probably taught her all sorts of strange superstitions, trying to prop her up as the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. As I said as much to my husband, suggesting that we should take our children away from the elderly folk, but my husband, who was the position of being the head priest of the Furure Shrine, had little power against the elderly who supported it. He took the rather uncomfortable stance of saying that as long as she was being noted upon, wasn't it fine? I argued against that. That she was our child and she should become a completely normal girl. What the elderly were expecting, that she was the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama, was simply odd. The elderly villagers believed that the child has divine powers. We should discuss the weather for the following day, but there were many times when I left the house without an umbrella and came back soaking wet. Rather than having clairvoyance, that was just second-hand knowledge from her watching the news all the time. The things that she knew that she shouldn't have known were a result of the people who were trying to indoctrinate her and the people who were gossiping getting together in the village. However, there certainly were days when everyone thought it was going to be all sunny all day, and that child would suddenly not go out without an umbrella. It would occasionally rain at the end. We would be safe. There might also have been times where Rika knew of major accidents in foreign countries faster than the news did. I thought she might have heard it break over the radio or something, knowing things she shouldn't have. Something like that. Was it in front of me? Was it in front of me right now? Wasn't it? That child was making curry rice when there shouldn't have been anybody who taught her how to. No, that couldn't possibly be the case. Someone had taught her, indoctrinated her. When I wasn't taking care of her, someone had indoctrinated Rika with something. Furure-san's curry's absolutely splendid. I'll give her a gold star. Nipa! Where did you learn how to cook, Furure-san? At home? Yes, at home. The other parents in attendance were impressed. Lies, all lies. I didn't teach her anything. Who was it? Who was the person who completely indoctrinated my child? She was my normal, average daughter, not the living incarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Detective Himatsubushi read all the tips! Woo! Okay. Yay. So let's save. Hey, okay. Hi. That was chapter 5 of Himatsubushi. Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Himatsubushi-hen. Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Himatsubushi-hen 第5章でしたにゃ。はい、let's go to Zatsudon. Hi! Okay, so anyways, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. Let's talk a little bit before we end stream today. But if you have not yet, be sure to follow Yuki on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, etc. Okay. So before we end stream today, let's talk. Or let's look at the schedule for this week. So yeah, tomorrow we will be, or not tomorrow. There will be no stream. Whoops. On Friday, Yuki will. Nani? Yuki will have a singing stream. So if you have any song suggestions, let Yuki know. And then on Saturday, it does seem like Yuki will be able to finish. It seems like it. I did get the achievement that Yuki finished all the tips. So hopefully this will be the last chapter of Higurashi coming up on Saturday. Both of the streams will be on 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, hopefully. I'm gonna find out that I'm wrong, and it's gonna end up being a long night. I don't know, but yeah, hopefully Saturday will be the last Higurashi no Naku Koro ni Himatsubushi-hen stream. But yeah, I did say that this was gonna be a shorter stream, or a shorter series than the other 3 Higurashi games that Yuki was playing. But yeah, like Yuki said, this is more focused on Rika-chan, or the past, with just Rika-chan, more than it's focused on the past. So we'll see what happens. Let me just check something. Okay. So yeah. Hopefully we will end, or we will finish Higurashi Street, or Higurashi Himatsubushi-hen on Saturday. That will be on 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. 土曜日にウート枠があるにゃー。日曜日に多分Higurashi Himatsubushi-henの最後の配信や。多分全部の配信は午前10時日本時間。But yeah, so basically that will hopefully be the last Higurashi Himatsubushi-hen stream. Also, since it is already November, that might also mean that it will be the last of the Higurashi streams for this year at least, or not for at least, the last of the Higurashi streams for this year. Which means Yuki will start off Higurashi chapter 5. Meyakashi-hen. Yeah. You'll probably start up next year, maybe. I'll think about it. But yeah, after Higurashi, we'll focus on other games. I mean, we have to go through Xenoblade And we also have to go through Yakuza Kiwami. So yeah, we should focus on we should focus on other games other than Higurashi. So yeah. But after this, what do you call it? After this, what do you call it? After Saturday, we'll be focusing on other things. But I guess we can talk about it. The next 2 weeks after this one might be shorter. Next week might be shorter. The week after would definitely be shorter. 2 weeks from now, oh my god, it's almost 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now, a little more than 2 weeks from now is NYC, Anime NYC. So, I have to prepare for that. Whoa. Things to prepare for. Oh my god. Oh yeah. But I did mention it when Six Snipe was here. Yuki will probably do PS because Yuki does have a short week. Probably has a short week next week and the following week. That also means that Yuki will not be available on the weekend. So Yuki was thinking maybe next week and the following week Yuki will have a PSO2 stream, NGS stream, so Yuki can do weeklies before the weekend basically. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's it for today. But yeah, we will finish off for everyone here for Higurashi. We will finish off Higurashi on Saturday, or Higurashi Himatsubushi-hen on Saturday, hopefully. I don't know how long it will be, but we will try to finish Higurashi Himatsubushi-hen on Saturday for hopefully the last Higurashi stream until next year. Hi! So anyways, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. Arigato nya. Hold on, let me see. ちょっと待って。Let me change to... Give me a second, it's gonna be... I'm gonna turn off audio, or let me change... Okay, I think we will raid. We will raid. I haven't raided them in a while. We'll raid Kiryu, Musashi Kiryu, who's just chatting right now. So let's say hi to Kiryu. So yeah. Anyways, raid Musashi Kiryu. Okay. So anyways, let's end it for today. So if you have Yuki's emotes, we do have this. Okay. We do have this raid message, raid here. If you don't have Yuki's emotes, this is also available. Aye! So anyways, thank you so much for coming to Yuki's stream today. Arigato nya. Yuki will finish Higurashi on Saturday. But for tomorrow or on Friday, no stream tomorrow. On Friday, Yuki will have a singing stream. So anyways, Yuki hopes to see you all on Friday for singing stream. 明日の歌枠に会いましょうにゃー。So anyways, おつにゃー。バイバイバイバイバイ。